Hey, how's it going, guys? JP here. Welcome back to Body Bags. This is week number 63, I want to say, and the theme this week is TV movies. I thought this was a fantastic theme because I love TV movies. It's a lost art. The art of the TV film is gone. They used to feel like an event. I remember even in, the 70s and 80s was the prime of this, but even in the 90s it had a bit of carryover, and I remember getting excited for the TV movies that would be on, and it just lost something when they do them now. But anyway, one man in particular was responsible for a lot of TV movies, classics, and that is Stephen King. So I decided to pick something from his works, and that is the Langoliers from the year 1995. And this one was like a mini-series. It was 3 hours total. It was split up into two parts. But I still think it counts as a TV movie. So this one follows a group of passengers who are on a plane to Boston. Now, some of the passengers fall asleep, and when they awaken, they see that the majority of the passengers are gone, vanished, disappeared. But they left behind some of their personal possessions: watches, earrings, necklaces, pacemakers, pretty much all non-biological material, stuff like that is left in the seats. So they have no idea what's going on. The pilots are gone. It's on the plane's on autopilot. Luckily, there's a pilot among the 10, I guess, survivors, and basically they're just trying to figure out what's going on. They eventually land the plane, learn a bit more about what's really going on, and it's still a little vague. Once you do find out what's going on, it is a little wonky, and you're kind of like, well, okay, I guess we'll roll with it. There's definitely some time travel elements here. But for the most part, it's a mystery. You don't know what's going on, and it's very eerie and very weird. And that's the strong point in this film. I've always liked this film because of that. The first hour and a half or so, you really just are wondering, what's going on? How is this happening? Where is everybody? There's no answers to nothing, and you're stuck with this small group of characters. And you have a blind girl who has a gift where she hears stuff louder. She can hear stuff off in the distance. She gets visions. She gets feelings. She feels like something's wrong. So they're kind of led by her. There's a really douchebag guy who's like this businessman who's all about me type of guy. And you have your other group of characters. I mean, honestly, the problems come in when you find out, what happened. I mean, it's a little lame when you really think about it, but I still kind of like it. I'm not really sure about how I feel. Okay, there's some really bad CGI in this film. It is some of the worst I've ever seen, but overall, I still really like this one. I don't feel like they had enough time to develop characters, even though it's 3 hours long, or they just kind of did it poorly to some extent. I think some were better than others. But I think they're playing with a lot of cool stuff in terms of time travel here. I've always liked time travel movies, and I like different theories and different ideas about it. This one has some cool stuff. Everything's not explained. I find that the ending of this film is kind of a... I don't really like the ending. I feel like it's too... I don't want to spoil anything, but it actually ends on a cheesy ass freeze frame. So yeah, overall, I do really like the Langoliers. It's just one of those cases where what you don't see and what you don't know is way more terrifying and eerie and creepy than once you find out what's going on, and it's actually a huge drop off. But I don't know, there's just something about it. I like the eeriness of it. Time starts going faster and faster. Days turn into nights within, a half hour, stuff like that. Really cool ideas here. I would maybe like to see this film remade. I think that there's very strong ideas here. that could, you know, potentially be a little bit better. There was a romance going on, and I thought that was poorly developed, and it kind of is a big, the film kind of hinges on that a bit for a lot of the emotional stuff, so definitely poorly done there. But I'm still going to give The Langoliers a 7 out of 10. I really do enjoy this film for some reason. I know that it definitely has problems, but I just like the weirdness of it and the eeriness. So I'll see you guys next week with another review. Peace out.